and then I'll jump into another question. So if you just want to introduce yourself, your name, the city where you live, and what you love about it.
My name is Carleen Sides Murphy, but I go by the name Carleen Murphy for short. I live in the town of Kinderhook, which is in Columbia County. And what I like about the town is just it's an historic town where the 8th President of the United States lived. Van Buren was the name. He was the 8th President of the United States. And so I like being in a city that has a history. And one of the histories that I've learned about the town is that the word okay comes from the town. Okay for old Kinderhook. So when President Van Buren used to live in the United States capital, Washington, he would sign that he's going to okay. It's going to be okay. So that word okay becomes, whenever that someone uses the word okay, that person will be okay. So okay is old Kinderhook. So that's the historic place about the area in Columbia County.
All right, thank you, Carleen.
Hi, I'm Andreas. Thank you for allowing me to be here and talk a little bit about myself. It's great to see you all. I live outside of Hudson in Ghent. I was born here and grew up here. Left for a little while and came back about 10 years ago. One of the things I love about this place is the fact that there are so many farms. I grew up on a farm. My parents still live on the farm, and the fact that I'm able to raise my kids around agriculture, connected to nature, connected to animals, that's really, and where their food comes from, that's really important to me. I also enjoy that when we want to, it's possible to go in and out of the city. It's nice to be close, and also it's nice to be able to be out in nature.
Thank you, Andreas. Okay. So now I'd like to ask you, why are you interested in running for a board position? I know several of us at CCSM, our organization, reached out to you because we saw you as leaders within the community, as folks that we think would really embody the, not to answer the question for you, but like embody the, the philosophy of CCSM, our commitment to community and our principles. So I know we also happened, reached out to you and thought of you as we were approaching our elections, because we saw that potential in y'all and perhaps that interest in joining our board. But why to you personally is it interesting or important for you to potentially join the board of CCSM? Or why are you running?
Well, when CCSM was founded, as a member of the church, First Presbyterian Church in Hudson, my minister was very receptive to have the area here have a movement like that to protect immigrants. And as a person who's an immigrant myself, and I also work with immigrants, and I do translations, court or schools. I also translate documents. I'm a notary, a public notary. And so I believe that this organization, because it's not just representing one group, it's in general for all immigrants, and the issues that they are addressing is an issue that we all would benefit from. And so I support the effort, I support the mission, and I've learned a lot as a member since I've been with the organization as a member. I've learned a lot of things that I didn't have knowledge of, especially when they're having Advocacy Day, in Albany. We have a chance to meet our representative, the Assembly people, and we even have people from our own community, elected members of the Assembly that we encourage to participate, to support, and then to give enough of themselves to the community. And so I appreciate that opportunity.
Sure, yeah, there may be 3 reasons that I'm really excited to be considered for this. Say the first is, as the son of an immigrant and the grandson of immigrants, it's really important to my family's history that a path to immigrate and to make a life wherever makes sense for your family is free and open to all. It really is upsetting to see that under attack. So I want to do anything that I can to help support people that are trying to improve their lives and improve their family's life the same way that my parents and my grandparents were able to. I don't believe in it. It's really troubling to know that a lot of the folks who are attacking some of these freedoms are themselves the children of immigrants, and they're shutting the door behind them, and I think that that's just really upsetting. And so I want to support all of the amazing work that CCSM is doing to help keep that open. I think, secondly, the principle of collective liberation that's in the mission statement is really meaningful to me. I think when any one of us comes under attack, all of us do, and it's our responsibility to join together and resist. And I really, especially now, like Brian said, for the next 3 years at least of this administration, we're going to be facing so much anger and so many attacks. It's really important to show those people who are coming with that aggression that this community is stronger together and will not be divided by it. Any chance I have to support that work and bring any of my experiences in a way that is valuable and helpful, I would love the opportunity to do that.
This is kind of, I think, complements what you all just shared, what the both of you just shared just now. Our next question is, why is CCSM's mission statement important to you? And as a reminder, our mission statement is that CCSM, Columbia County Sanctuary Movement, we organize with immigrants and allies to collectively support, empower, and defend our communities. And so with that in mind, and some of the information that we shared earlier about, the importance of organizing those most directly impacted, while also, being a space where allies can also join into the movement. What about the mission statement do you think matters to you or resonates with you? And I think you both kind of already alluded to this answer, but is there anything else you'd like to add as it pertains to the mission statement and its importance? And I'll pass it to you, Andres, first.
Sure. I mean, the 3 words, support, empower, and defend, balance each other, and what I really, in a way that really resonates with me. There's important work to do to resist hostility, and I think there's equally important work to come together and show an alternative, and that support and empower part is really inspiring to me. That there's some element of the work which is protecting ourselves and those that we love and care about, and equally important is the work of showing another path forward, which I think is really needed, and if our community can be an example of that, I think that's really exciting to be a part of that, and that would be a good thing to do.
Yes, this is a similar position for me too, because as an immigrant, I remember when I came here in 1979, there were so many information going around that were not taught. Not all the information that we hear about immigrants is correct. But what happened is they don't have a place to get the information that they need, and at the same time, they don't feel that they can make a difference. They are always in fear. They don't have a group behind them, and so they are so vulnerable. With CCSM and as a sanctuary movement, it makes the person they live with feel that they're not alone. They have rights. They also can do so much, not because they are immigrants, they are in another country, they can't speak, they can defend themselves, they are always in the one. And so with CCSM, empowering people with information that they need and having support to make those things. If a member of the community has a problem, they know where to go, they're not alone. And so I feel that's a good thing to have in a community. So people don't feel that they have to go get the information from people who may not know better than they do. There is a place where they can come and get the accurate information.
So this is the last question that I have, and before we open it up to the floor, so start thinking of any questions that you may have for our candidates. So you both are running for director-at-large positions in the board, and our question to you is, what has your experience been at nonprofits? It could be CCSM, it could be another nonprofit organization, and also, what do you hope to achieve? Now if you were to be voted on as director-at-large, what are some of the things that you would want to achieve, or projects that you would be interested in taking on as a director at CCSM on the board? And I'll give that a minute for you to think about, because I know it's twofold. If you're ready to answer, go.
Well, I have worked with many nonprofits. One of them I started here in Albany is the Head Start. I was on the board of the Head Start Policy Council as the president. I also I was one of the members who formed an organization representing Haitians in the area here in Columbia County with the support of the First Presbyterian Church, which is in Hudson. And I worked with a radio station, WGXC, that we have a program, a cultural program on the radio every Sunday afternoon from 4 to 6 with Azuke, who's also a co-host of the program and co-founder of the Haitian Community Development Project. And so every Sunday afternoon we give updates on Haiti, we support Haitian music, Haitian artists, and also events that relate to Haitian contribution to the world, and so on. And I have also been, I'm a member of the First Presbyterian Church and also a committee, an elder, which is the committee that represents and making decisions for the church. For CCSM, what I feel that we need, this is an issue that's been close to me in a sense, because we heard so much about immigrants who are being deported or arrested and sent back home. Many of them have worked here for a long time, contributed to the Social Security benefits, their retirement, Medicare, and other programs that they take off their checks, their payments, right off the bat. And these people, after a while, living in the country, and to round them up and then send them back home, they lost all they have contributed to this country when it comes to their Social Security benefits. And I think that it would be a great issue for CCSM to look into, to see how these people who are contributing to a system that they are not going to benefit from. Because if you work 20 years in this country and then they deport you, you lose all your contribution to the system. And that's one of the things that I don't know how the lawyers or the people who coordinate that can look into it and see how they can benefit the immigrants so they don't lose their pension or their contribution to this country.
Thank you for
A little bit on my background. I've been on the boards of other nonprofits before. I worked with a group in Boston called Hearth, which helped unhoused people find homes and transition into new lives. I've also been a part of the Columbia County Recovery Kitchen here in Hudson for the last few years, and was on the leadership team at Hawthorne Valley and the board of directors there, which is a nonprofit about 15 minutes from here. And I'm also currently serving on the board of the company I helped start about 15 years ago. We make drinks, so not a nonprofit, but also a board role. And you know, in all of those different experiences, we've gone through a lot of hard times, all of those organizations. You know, I heard Brian just now bringing up the fact that the next few years are going to be really challenging, and I've been in those rooms as we're trying to figure out how you get through a really tough situation and what sort of partnerships and allies we need to find and how you build connection when the environment isn't supportive. So I have some firsthand experience in board roles doing that, and also with my company, which isn't technically a nonprofit, but was not making any profit for a long time, and we had to figure out how to turn that around. I think in terms of projects, I really love how this organization is intentional about grassroots guidance and leadership, and that the things that matter to the membership are what gets focused on. So I think, you know, one of the first things I want to make sure to do is really listen and understand. Listen to everybody and understand what's important, and try to figure out how to help support and serve the goals of the membership in the best way possible. And I think by getting to know everybody better and understanding what's alive within the group over the next year or two, be able to advance some more projects and more ideas maybe that I come up with. But I think the first step and sort of the end of your question of a vision for contribution to the organization would start with listening to what's really needed and trying to serve in any way that I can.
It's a good time to do that because we are just about to approach an election, have an election, which is where we're able to assess, you know, the kinds of services and the kind of organizing priorities that our membership wants us as an organization to prioritize. So that will help inform some of those ideas potentially if you were to be elected to the board. And so if we can just give a little round of applause to our candidates and all their contributions. So at this moment, I actually would like to open it up to you all to ask any questions that you may have of either candidate up here. If you have a general question, you know, you can ask them to both, but if you have a specific question to a candidate, you know, feel free to ask that. So does anyone have any questions? Izuke?
My question is, I like both. They have experience. I think the organization needs both of them.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your opinions, Izuke. And as Brian mentioned, right, it's not one or the other necessarily in this election. We have another person, Michael, who couldn't join us, but you know, these three candidates are running for director-at-large positions in our board, and it's more so yes or no to each one of them. If we feel that they meet the qualifications that we would want in as director at large positions within our board. So they're not going up against each other. It's more so, do we want them on the board or not? But thank you, Azuke. Azuke, thinks that both of what they had shared is incredibly valuable and would be important for CCSM to have. So thank you, Azuke. Isaias?
I have a question. How do you guys use your experience to not only uplift but also bring positive change to CCSM?
Well, as an immigrant myself, I have experiences facing what most newcomers are facing now. And this is an environment that's very stressful for immigrants. And having CCSM here in the city, knowing how difficult it is for immigrants and even for the state to accept immigrants living here and to have this organization, and I will do whatever that I can to make sure that the immigrants here get the services that they need, and at the same time to take into consideration the condition of the state we're living in, the environment politically, and the way that I translate documents. I support them when they have to go to court. Also, I help whenever that they have a need, when they have advocacy group. And this is one of the major issues when CCSM is advocating for immigrants, and we need a good turnout. We need people, so I can help with that to make sure that our organization gets the voices heard and people get the benefits that they need and qualify.
I would add, thank you for that, Carolina, add that in times when organizations are growing really quickly, everything, all the pressures get amplified. And right now, I understand this organization is growing. There's new members. There are a lot of needs. There's new people working every day. And as that happens, the systems and the ways that we did things 5 years ago may not work anymore. And we need to come up with new systems to continue to stay, keep pace with how the organization is evolving. And I've been through that with my business over the last 5 years and really seen how growth and the need for what we're doing can put a lot of strain and pressure on people. And so I will try to understand in what ways is that happening here and how can we keep creating, keep growing, and keep improving our systems so that everybody has the resources and the information and everything they need to do the work.
Does anyone have any other question for our candidates? Dueto?
Alright, I have a question. Over the last 2 years, CCSM has done a lot to increase the participation of Caribbean community members in the organization. Why do you think participation and representation of Haitians is important?
The participation of Haitians is important, you ask? I didn't hear you.
You want me to ask the question again?
Please.
Over the last 2 years, CCSM has done a lot to increase the participation of Caribbean community members in the organization. Why do you think participation and representation of Haitians is important?
It is important because we all know that the Haitians, as black people, and it's our minorities in a way, they had, it's been a tough situation for many of them. The past election, you heard what the president said about Haitians and Springfield, and you have, from the beginning in the 80s, you talk about Haitians bringing AIDS to this country, and so the condition, and even that, the president went to Haiti and support and asked for Haitians to vote for him. And as soon as he got elected, he turned against them. And the same thing happened now. He went to, he said so many things against Latinos, the Latino community, and then as soon as he got elected, he fought them. So this is a pattern that I noticed that for immigrants, they have to be aware of the environment. Because for Haitians in particular, we encourage them to participate because standing alone leaves them vulnerable. They are vulnerable in a sense they don't know the culture, they don't know the laws, so they can get into trouble just like that, easily. And so that's the reason if they can join an organization like CCSM, participate in organized advocacy. So when they have an issue, when they have a problem that they need help with, at least they know where to go. They know there is some resources available to help them get the resources, the issues that they have reduced, addressed, and also they will have the people capable of providing that service for them. And one of the things that I talk about, not just Haitians, but for immigrants in particular, is finding legal representation. Because if you are an immigrant minority with limited access to financial support, and you go to a private law firm, you don't have the means to pay for legal representation. But if you connect to an organization like CCSM, they fight for resources to make sure that you get the representation that you need. So it's important that you stay and you participate and you make your voice heard.